Hello everybody, John here, and 2020 is coming to a close right now. I wanted to try something new and like show off stuff that I haven't really done on the channel like directly. I've done this like through some thumbnails and stuff like that, but not like announced it or anything unless it was like in a monthly update or something like that. But here I have my 2020 art folder. So I started this at the beginning of the year. Not as much as I would have liked to put in here, but I kind of wanted to do a review of all the drawings I've done and maybe even next year in like the next 2 days, be able to draw, be able to draw some more, and like be able to. I'm probably might go get a new folder and like do that. So I'll be. I don't put like dates on my stuff, more just the year, I guess. So we're gonna go through all the stuff that I've done so far. We have in some categories here of either just superheroes, anime/other, and then YouTube. The YouTube one is for the thumbnails. Superheroes, just in general, is like a theme I wanted to do of like Arkhamverse style or like Spider-Man PS4 versions of like other characters from those universes. And anime/other is just other random stuff. But we do have like some overlapping stuff, obviously, with like superheroes and like YouTube. I just like did the reverse of superheroes and YouTube, but we're just gonna go over everything probably one at a time. So we're gonna start with superheroes and see what I doodled. Alright, so first we're gonna go over the superhero stuff, first to most recent in that category. Alright, so the first one here we have like the Iron Man. I'm probably gonna get close-ups of these later, but I'm just gonna show. So Iron Man one here, this one I actually made in February on the 23rd. So this is for the new Avengers game. So I drew this as it was. I've definitely done, I guess, better with my art in the sense that I've better scaled things. Usually I'll just look at the picture and then like draw it. So I drew it and like this is just how it became as big as it was, like so zoomed in. And then I actually wanted to do like highlights of stuff, but I work with like Sharpie markers, so it's kind of hard to do that, like make things lighter opposed to just darker by doing it like 50 times over. So I got like they're not like, I tried to get like white Sharpies and those like did not work whatsoever, but then I got like some whiteout pens, so I was able to like do it in this sort of fashion. And this I thought actually came out better than the one that followed that I tried to do it with. But here's like the first Iron Man one that I did. I think it was like the first drawing I did this year, as you can see, pretty late in the year, so I'm going to try to be better with that one. So like next year's Captain America from the same thing. I based this off the comic, like the one shot that came out before the game came out. And for this one I tried to do like the highlight thing with the white as well, based on like the image and how the lighting was there, but it just didn't look quite right with like the white, like how it was. So I tried to like make it different. So like I tried to, I just went back over with blue to make it like look lighter. So I guess it worked a little bit better this way. And then also because I was looking at the reference image, but like the entire thing was like fucking blue. So I was like, oh, just doing that, but I wasn't paying attention. So like here, like his hand, I did like blue instead of like gray or something. So I did that wrong. So I did like some whiteout stuff. I tried to like color over it. I like cut out like the hand. I like traced the hand over on another piece of paper, cut it out, put it over this, so I didn't have to redo the whole thing. But I'm not the biggest fan of this one, just because he looks kind of weird, like in the face. Just because like I don't know, I didn't really like this design of Cap or like just how it came out in general. So I redid this one and I redid Iron Man as well, but we're gonna get to that soon. So this was the Captain America one that I did for Avengers. And next up we had Superman. So this was my rendition of Superman for like the Arkhamverse before like the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League game like announced, and they showed off what Superman actually looks like in the Arkhamverse. But it basically based him on like the Man of Steel skin from Injustice, since they kind of share a lot of the same assets in that universe. So basically this was just my rendition of that with like some little blue highlights here and there, but nothing too crazy. And like now it's just kind of Man of Steel Superman opposed to like the Arkhamverse one, so might redo that one later or something like that. But yeah, so as you can see I better did it where it's like his actual whole thing instead of just like really zoomed in or anything like that. Alright, next we went into the actual Avengers stuff I redid again. So here we have all of Captain America in this pose. This is where I started to just like take other reference images and like put stuff on top of it, because I would usually just take whatever picture and just draw it. But then I was like, oh, I'll just look up Cap poses, and I just like build on top of that because I'm stupid and it took me that long to figure that out apparently. But here, better looking at another reference image, I was able to like color it properly. Not the biggest fan still just of his suit in general because it's very blue Like there's not a lot of differentiation in like the colors or anything. Because like looking at the picture, it really just is all majorly blue instead of like a little bit of colors popping here and there. He's a little darker than I would have liked, but unfortunately that's just how it went. Because I made a mistake, big oops, that's what happens when you have Sharpies, but it's pretty okay. And then yeah, so he's just hanging out with his shield, and that was the Avengers Captain America. So this one here, we have our new Iron Man. This one, I was actually able to do like the pose from his comic, the other comic version, or it was just like a picture of him from the game. So I was able to do him like that and do his whole body. This one I was actually pretty proud of, just of like using the gold and like the detailing and the armor and stuff like that. So this was a lot of fun to do. I actually got like a request for a print for this one, so I actually was able to like sell that to somebody, so because somebody liked it enough and I like it, so I thought that was cool. But yeah, so there's Iron Man, our redone Iron Man, so it's our second redo already, so yeah. Alright, so this one I'll just do together because these are the next two were like the Hulks. So this is the first one I did. Wasn't really digging this one, like he just looked kind of off, honestly, but I was trying to do Hulk for like the game as well, but I thought like the green was a little bleh, and then like the shorts were like whatever, and also like the detailing, there wasn't like enough, like there were some veins here and there, but it wasn't like the proper like Hulk that I was imagining, so I redid it for this one. And this one obviously has a lot more detailing with like in the muscles and like in the feet and the face. I was like, so for Hulk, like he does have green eyes, and then like also instead of like whites around his eyes, he has green as well. So I thought like it does look kind of weird, like at least to me, but that's just kind of like how it goes. Like there's a lot of things where just like for characters where it's just like it doesn't seem to work, or like if you're drawing something some way and you're like this doesn't really seem good, like even for like drawing like regular faces and stuff like that, it always just looks kind of off. But like that's just how, you know, that image is. Like it's always frustrating when like taking a picture of somebody looks better than drawing it, even though it's like the same thing. But yeah, so this was the better Hulk, and obviously here's our comparison here. The light green works a little bit better as well with that. So yeah, there's our Hulks. Next up was Thor, God of Thunder. I was like, we had, I think I used this image from maybe like just a comic thing like that, but I based them off the Avengers game, and this was like all these were before the Avengers game actually came out. So I was trying to scrap here and there like different reference images of how like his armor works and stuff like that. So like we have some nice shading with like his cape. I added the lightning from like his eyes to make it work a little bit better, or like at least for me, because like I think the pupils were coming out a little weird. So I was like, I'll just fill it with lightning, just because like that shows up in the game as well as like the MCU. So I was able to do that, and yeah, I was like. I was like, I like the design of this one, like a little intricateness, and I was able to use some bronze, like Sharpie in there, and like, I just thought this one was pretty cool. So yeah, there's Thor. Alright, so here we have Black Widow. That was like Natasha Romanoff. This was based on the Avengers comic, like the one shot where she's like just doing this. I don't really know what that's supposed to be doing, but she got her batons there and her little venom like bite things, like she shoots to shock people. Doing black is definitely difficult just because it's a lot, it's obviously it could just all melt together. But I'm trying to find out where I got them, but they're like these like kind of finer like pens. They're not Sharpie pens, but there's a type of pen where if you were to put like black Sharpie over it, the black Sharpie is actually lighter than the pen itself. So that's why you can actually see some of the detailing in this. And then I think for the gray, I just use like pencil, because that sometimes at this moment I didn't have like any gray Sharpies. I'd actually get those separately opposed to like the Sharpie pack that I had. Yeah, I thought she came out pretty well. I was like, all the faces, like obviously when they happen, look kind of goofy, but this one I thought was like pretty okay. Obviously she got like her crazy hair and stuff like that, but yeah, so there's Black Widow, and again, like this was the most I can get out of the image because I didn't have like a 3D model of her to see, the different like details and stuff, but I thought this came out pretty good. Alright, lastly in our superhero line we have Taskmaster, aka Tony Masters. So he's become pretty popular just recently, being in the video game. He was in Spider-Man PS4, and then eventually he's going to show up in the Black Widow movie that's just been postponed for like ever. So yeah, I based him off just like the demo trailer, because that's when we first see him, and he's got this nice skull mask. I actually started drawing this on a different piece of paper, and then like the scaling was kind of weird with his body, so like I think it was down too low, so it would have cut some things off. So I tried to redraw it. Didn't come out as good as this version that I thought. So I cut that out, put it on this piece of paper, and started built from there. And then his shield here actually based on like one of the action figures that had like the T shield, but then like in the actual game he doesn't have this. So it's kind of like mixing things here and there, but I think it came out pretty cool. Again, his arms kind of like bother me. There's just things like with all like my art stuff where like I'll start drawing things and like I'll just like mess up something. I'm like, well, there's the mess up for this drawing because there's always like a little flaw here and there with like my stuff. But like, I was like, I think this one was a gray Sharpie for this one, and then like some here is like pencil. But yeah, so there's Taskmaster and the end of our little superhero section. So we're gonna move on to the next one. Alright, so now we're moving on to the anime/other section. I thought the anime part, like looking at all these, would be a bigger part of it, but it's kind of just more other now. So we're gonna start, the earliest one in this section. Like obviously, like some's gonna be mixing up. Like I see some here that came like either, I think like just after like that Iron Man one. That was like the 23rd or something, and like the one of the other ones over here are marked like the 24th. So like there's gonna be some mixing here and there. But like this is just that section, and you'll see like the slow evolution towards the end of like what happens. So let's get started. So first off, there was actually a playbill like kind of contest going on for Beetlejuice the musical, and there was like a thing where you can like submit your own playbill design. Unfortunately, I did not win. I didn't think I was going to win. The person who did win actually did a fantastic job. But this was just like a little sketch I did of like the sandworm. Right here, so there he is, little sandworm, and then on top was Beetlejuice, but like obviously that was coming out kind of dumb, so I just redid Beetlejuice here, and it's gonna be him riding on the sandworm. And I think I posted it on my art Instagram. I was like, I'll link that obviously in the description like I always do, but I posted like the final thing there and like submitted that to the thing. So it was basically like him riding on, or I'll see if I can find the picture and I'll put it like up somewhere, but essentially it was like him riding on the sandworm coming out of the house, and there was like some lighting and stuff like that. I'm like horrible with Photoshop, but that was the best they got. So I submitted that, and that was kind of cool, but I kept this in case I ever wanted to do another drawing like that. I actually have the files still of the playbill thing. So yeah, that was the first thing I did was the Beetlejuice. Alright, so next up here was like a whole section of like, I was trying to make like my own Dragon Ball like original character, kind of based on like my Xenoverse character. For those who don't know, there's Dragon Ball Z game called Xenoverse, and then there's Xenoverse 2, where essentially you make your own custom character, and then you go through time and like solve problems and stuff like that, but you would be like yourself. And in the second game, you actually make a new character and team up with your character from the first game. So I was trying to make like my own character and base off some of like the features and stuff from like Dragon Ball Z Heroes and stuff, or Dragon Ball Super Heroes, whatever like they had the new show is now. But I was just basing off these things here. So here's like me is like Super Saiyan 3. There's like another me doing like the Kamehameha. But there's like another Super Saiyan me. So it's just like a whole mix of them. But my outfit that I tried to design was like Vegeta's like new armor from Dragon Ball Z Heroes with like the gray, and then he had like Goku's pants and shoes, and it was supposed to be like Moscow X's like what if Raditz turned good kind of style, where it's like Raditz has like the armor still, and then like the pants like the regular like Son Goku like pants. This one was kind of like my favorite one because it was the first one, and it was just like me just hanging out, and that's supposed to be like base for me. But yeah. So I tried to like, you can see there's some line there of like me trying to map out the head, because obviously the heads are a bit different, and like I use these from like from Dragon Ball Z like wireframe kind of things, just like how to make your own character like poses or something like that. So yeah, that's what I did, and that was that. So that's just like my whole original Dragon Ball like character kind of collection here. Probably gonna fix that up later if I want to do stuff for like Kakarot or something like that. But we'll get to that YouTube section later of like, because those are basically for all the thumbnails. But yeah, so right now it's just all me, but in Dragon Ball form. So yeah. Alright, next up we actually had this like interesting like tattoo design. One of my friends had actually asked like a few people to come up with like a tattoo design for them to get. I don't know which one they went with, if they went with any, but essentially this was like a small quick thing because they're like Nordic or something like that, or they're central. They're not like from Norway, but like their background is like centered around that. So essentially they wanted like Thor's hammer, like Mjolnir down here. I had that like upside down with like the roots going up through like the tree of like not the tree of life, but just like Yggdrasil. And like then we had like some ravens here, and we had like some runes that would spell out like her name. You could translate that if you want. I don't really care. But yeah, so this is just like a quick little thing I wanted to do for my friend, and I colored it in just to like fully complete it. And yeah, so it's just a little thing there. Alright, so here we now have another quick lightning round kind of thing as well. So there was a little trend going around earlier this year that was like the 6 fan arts. And essentially people would like just, I'd be like, oh, like who do you people want for like, I can draw like these 6 people. And it was like a whole thing or whatever where it's like 6 boxes and you just pick like random characters or whatever and like the person would draw them. So first one here we have is like Agretsuko from like show Agretsuko from on Netflix. It was a nice little anime about like this little fox or no panda person, and I'm getting feedback from Marissa who's behind the camera, and so I was like I want to show that she's the one that suggested this because I don't think anybody else watches it. So yeah, I drew her right here real quick. I was like she was pretty obviously easy to do, and I used some of my skin tone markers to be able to color her in pretty accurately. Moving on, we had a suggestion of Nami from One Piece. I chose the Nami from like the earlier seasons before the time skip because she looks a bit better than the other one because I don't really like the art style of that second one, but I remember watching One Piece when I was younger and I thought this was just like a cool thing to do. Like I don't really know how to explain all these. I'm just like I thought this was cool to do. So I did Nami here from the earlier seasons where she has her little like weather pipe thing that can like make the different effects here and there. So yeah, there's Nami. Did some nice shading there. And we had Groot. Pretty self-explanatory. She's Groot there, and there he is. He's brown because he's made of wood. So there he is. It's Groot. I am Groot. Squirrel Girl. I was like everybody's classic favorite Squirrel Girl. This is like one of her earlier designs where she has the black with the squirrel over it. Not like the newer one where it's like her just wearing squirrel stuff without like an underbody suit. There's a little squirrel friend. I don't know what her squirrel friend's name is. I think she actually has like a squirrel, like the squirrel has like an actual name. But yeah, so there's Squirrel. There's Squirrel Girl, who's done some pretty ridiculous things over her history, but there she is. And we had Bumblebee. Somebody suggested Bumblebee, and what I had assumed that they probably suggested was like Bumblebee from like the movies and stuff, but I decided to take it from my favorite version of Bumblebee. That's not Generation 1. And it was the High Moon like Fall of Cybertron series Bumblebee. So he's from that game. This one I really like just because of like how I was able to do the detail and stuff. And I really just do like that version of the character, like War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. Fall of Cybertron being one of my favorite games of all time. And then they had like Rise of the Darkspark where they kind of ruined the story because they merged it with the movies. But this I thought was a really great version of the character, and I just thought he had a cool design because they merged like more modern stuff with like his older design. So yeah, it's pretty neat. And then lastly, I think this is lastly. Yep, lastly we had River from To the Moon, because To the Moon is a very underrated game, and I think River is a really great character. There's a little stuffed platypus there, and so I think Marissa also suggested this. It was either Marissa or just I decided to do it, but I think it was Marissa. But yeah, so I did River here, and like the game does have like a kind of like a little anime style to it, so that's why I gave her big googly eyes. So yeah, there she is with the nice red hair and her little dress when she's like kneeling down with her little platypus. And thank God that the second game, Finding Paradise, is actually coming to the Switch in the spring, so we're going to be playing that as well. Seeing if Marissa's going to cry again. But yeah, so that's the 6 fan arts that I had done when that fad was around. So moving on from there. Next up, we had a few, so I started like a Redbubble, like kind of in secret. I tried to put some things up there. Unfortunately, not a lot of things could stay because of like copyright stuff, even though I feel like Redbubble's turning into YouTube where they accept some things and don't accept some other things depending on who gives the money. Because if you were to look, like I tried to put up like the Iron Man and the Captain America from the earlier like series, like the superhero one where it's like Iron Man with the repulsor and then Captain with the shield, but like those weren't accepted because they were copyright. But if you were to just look up Iron Man or Captain America or something, everybody's got other stuff themselves, so not sure what that was about. But yeah, I'm looking into other ways of being able to like maybe do stuff like that for like prints or whatever. But yeah, so currently on my Redbubble now from these drawings here, we have Plankton looking at his stubby tiny fingerprints from the SpongeBob movie here. Somebody actually got like a travel mug with this on it, so I thought that was cool. But yeah, so we have Plankton here. Then we have some sketches from Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go, which is a very old Disney Channel show, or like, that was around when it was Jetix, before Disney XD came along and took over that channel. But here we have like the Super Robot himself, Chiro, and then the Skeleton King, voiced by Mark Hamill. And we had, I basically did all as like heads. These ones came later though, because before that was the Super Robot Monkeys themselves. So this is Antari's section version. Spoiler, he does die at some point, and then he comes back as this little chrome monkey. So actually I drew this and left it blank, and then using Photoshop I was able to just color all the monkeys differently because they all look the same. So on my Redbubble, all the different versions of the monkeys where we have like Gibson, Sparks, Nova, Otto, Antari, the first one, and there's a second Antari, and then we also have Mandarin when he was a monkey before he became evil. So yeah, that's the Super Robot Monkeys, and there's Plankton. But yeah, so that's all the stuff I currently have on Redbubble, plus like some other stuff here and there that'll show up in a later YouTube section, which I'll talk about. Alright, now we're going to pick up the pace and start grouping things together. So here we have Little Thomas Tank Engine. This was done because I think it was this year was the 20th anniversary. Is it the 20th anniversary or no, the 25th anniversary of Thomas and the Magic Railroad, which was the first Thomas and the Tank Engine movie, as well as the first and only theatrically released Thomas Tank Engine movie. Thomas is a big thing growing up, and I was really happy that I was able to actually get this down to like draw it this way. So here's Thomas himself, and then also in that movie was introduced, we had Lady. So there's Lady, who's the magic engine herself that actually goes in the Magic Railroad that goes from like Shining Time Station to the island of Sodor. If you've never seen Thomas Tank Engine in the Magic Railroad, I would highly recommend it, even if you're older. I remember we watched it, me and Marissa watched it around the time where it was being hyped up for like the cast to do like a reading about it. That wasn't the most entertaining thing, so we just actually watched the movie itself. But it's got Alec Baldwin in it, and yeah, so the movie's pretty good. I was like, there's Lady, and then the bad guy himself was Diesel 10. So there's Diesel with his little claw, his little crane right there. He used it to attack Alec Baldwin because he's a bad guy, and he actually messes with the other engine because he doesn't like them because he's a diesel engine or a diesel train, and the other ones are steam engines, so he doesn't like them because they're different, so that's not okay. So that's why he's the bad guy, and they beat him in the end. I think he comes back like one other time, and then same thing for Lady, but other than that, like, they don't really show up. But yeah, I did like how I was able to get like the design again, just of stuff, just like looking back at all the details and stuff. I thought it was cool, and then you could see like the black, like with the pen I was talking about, where like you can actually see it through the black Sharpie. And somebody also actually, the same person that got the Iron Man one also got this print here of like a little Thomas, because their kid likes Thomas. So there he is. Alright, so coming up next we have my Imperial pilot from Star Wars Squadrons, that game. So in the story you can actually like customize your pilot a little bit, and you actually make like their own unique name and stuff. So I decided to draw my character, Hugo Psycho was his name, and he's an Imperial bomber because that was like my favorite fighter is the bomber, at least before they nerfed it, and his call sign was Titan 3, so that's what it's for. He's part of Titan Squadron. That's the squadron of the Imperial side in the game. But yeah, so he's got like the red kind of like helmet here with like the red armor, just like the red design here and there, like throughout the pants and stuff. I thought that was really cool to like have that little red accents in there. So there's Hugo Psycho. Then we just had the sketch of a hippo because I think hippos are neat. And I think it was like my friend's birthday or something, and I was like, oh, do you want me to like draw you something? And they were like, sure. So I drew them this hippo, and they thought it was awesome. So there's that hippo. Hippos are neat. And there's me. So I was trying to figure out a way to update my YouTube like character, or like even for my Instagram my character, because it's just kind of me in my Spider-Man outfit for the art Instagram. But I was trying to do one that would be you know, me drawn, and like I even have like the I think it was more for YouTube because it has like the font style that I use for my thumbnails. It's a little JC, and there's my little YouTube on my pants or something. I don't even know if those pants exist. I just kind of made that up. There's me. I didn't really like this. I think I don't really like it a whole lot, but I mean, I still drew it, so I kept it, didn't get rid of it. But it's just on the road to figuring out what's going on with that. So, yeah, there's me, and that was the end of this little section. Alright, last up, finally, in this little section of anime/other, we get to the Lego drawings. I'm in like Lego mood again. If anybody follows my regular Instagram, I post some more Lego stuff, just stuff that I've been getting here and there, and I can't wait for the new Lego video game to come out, which will probably be playing on the channel. But here, this was kind of in the band with like the other, like the drawing of myself that I just showed off. So I did a Lego me. This is actually based off like the Lego minifigure I have of myself. Not the best. I feel like I could definitely add more detail into here, so I'm probably gonna like redo this at some point. And plus, like the hair is a bit different now that my hair like goes more back than like just the comb over that I used to do. So there's me, and this was actually with like the little character of myself because I didn't know if I was gonna put this as the YouTube thing or like our Instagram thing. So yeah, that was just a little trial and error. But everything we have here right now is like all my Lego drawings. So this is where I started to get really proud of what I've been doing. So here we have Miles Morales, based off a set that's actually coming out on January 1st. It's like the Miles Morales mech. There was like in the beginning, or like not in the beginning, but at first there was an Iron Man and a Thanos mech based off the Avengers video game. I actually have the Iron Man one, but coming out the next wave is going to be a Captain America mech, Miles Morales, and then a Thor one. And I definitely love the Miles Morales design. It is a bit different because he has like gray webbing on his suit instead of the red webbing. But I think that kind of works a little bit, and then he also has this new hood piece that I think is just really cool, so I decided to draw Miles. And this was also around when the video game came out, so I was all about Miles because Miles is a really great character, and you should check out that series of Spider-Man Miles Morales. Moving on, we have Spider-Man himself from Spider-Man PS4. I was like, just getting back into that mood. I was really like about like Spider-Man from PS4, like in that whole universe. So I decided to sketch him here as a little Lego Spider-Man. There is actually a Spider-Man PS4 minifigure, but it was a Comic-Con exclusive, and it's like $400 now if you want to try to find it. There are people that make custom ones that I'm thinking about getting just to have, because I have like a Miles one, or I think they also make the custom like Miles one from like the video game as well. So here's Spider-Man PS4, really like him. Moving on, we have Boba Fett. That's like my favorite Star Wars character ever of all time. Here's his base minifigure that we have currently right now. Like this is the most updated one, and I added his little like shoulder pads here from his arm printing. That's only in like the Ultimate Collector series, Slave One, and then the Betrayal on Cloud. Betrayal on Cloud City or Betrayal of Bespin Betrayal or something, which was like an Ultimate Collector's like a big set. He has his arm printing. I gave him a custom E3 gun. That's not an actual piece, like not the gun that you get. But I see like on eBay, people make like molds of his actual gun. So I gave him that. And then I gave him the correct arm printing because they gave him like green van braces. But in actuality, on film and stuff, he has like these maroon ones that match like his visor here. So yeah, we got like his leg printing, there's some shading there, and like I was able to get the gray like just light enough on like the pencil because I shaded it in, and like I went back and I erased it a bit, and then went back and like did it again and erased it to get like that lighter gray. So there's Boba, and then here we have some like Mandalorian spoilers if anybody has not been caught up at this point because the season's been over for a little bit. But then we have updated Boba. So Boba actually returns in this series and is brought back to the universe. And here's like him, very similar to the one that he was just in. I just kind of made it as similar as possible, but just like his updated armor. So where he has like battle damage and scratches here, he actually comes back and repaints everything. So he has a new sleek outfit, and he has like a black like tunic or something like underneath it. And with that, he also has like a black like skirt almost. So I was able to add that like a fabric piece akin to like what Asajj Ventress's minifigure had. So yeah, here's Boba. All nice and painted, and definitely a figure I would want in the future. Hopefully they do that, either in like a Star Wars minifigure series or like in a new set that I hope that they do this year. But yeah, so there's Boba. I'm really proud of this one because I just think it's really cool. But yeah, so this was the end of the anime slash other section basically just turned into Lego stuff. Probably gonna be more Lego stuff. Because not only on my phone do I have an album of art stuff, like art prompts I want to do, but now this is a separate one for just Lego ones. So expect a lot more of those. Alright, so now we're finally at our last section of like my little art folder, which was the YouTube section. So some of you may have noticed some of these before in the thumbnails. Basically all of these are art pieces that I've done to update my thumbnails instead of just like a generic picture. Like you'll notice that for some of the other stuff, or like even more like if a new series comes out, it's probably just gonna be like generic image of this game plus like my little 1, 2, 3 whatever part it is. But I decided to make things a little bit more personal and like go back and redraw some of the characters and put them in there, which is the background. I don't have like a digital art thing to do that, so if you've noticed, all my art is very traditional. I just kind of sketch on a thing and then put it in there. I might like change the hue or saturation of things so they don't look as dull as they do just because of like lighting and stuff. But so here's all the assets basically that go into making those new thumbnails, or just like other things as well. So let's get into that. Alright, so here we actually have, I noticed that it's dated February 5th, so this might have been, I think this is like the actual first thing I drew this year. This is me, and then here's Josh, my friend Josh, that joins me on a few of the Let's Play adventures. So these, I think I just did randomly. Like, I don't really think this was like that intentional to be like a new thumbnail thing, but, or it might have been, because I remember the original Denny thumbnails were very crowded, in the sense that I'd be like, because I was very specific with what parts they were, because in the game, it'd be like chapter 1 to chapter 2.5, like and then like the next one's like 2.5 to 3 or something, because like the length in the episodes were like so off, or in the chapters, and that was before I just started being like what now I would do nowadays is like we're just gonna complete the whole episode and that's gonna be that part. So here's me and Josh. I was like, I'll actually put the thumbnail up here, because I was just thinking before, I was like, I have to take pictures of all these, but I was like, I already have pictures of them. So you'll see the thumbnail up there. And yeah, so here's just me and Josh, like an old 1920s, 30s kind of cartoon style, like the rubber hose kind of thing. And yeah, so I was like, the thumbnail looks a lot more better now. So more better. So you can definitely check that out. Yeah. Alright, next we have like this bronze donkey thing. So one of my friends actually wanted to start doing like a YouTube channel. So and he wanted like this design. He was in this play like Midsummer, and the character that he played actually had like this kind of like paper craft, like different like angled like kind of cubic almost like donkey head. So I decided, and it was like, I don't know if you can't really tell on here, but there's like some gold like outlining in there to show like the different like edges and stuff, and then it's like mainly bronze. So this is where all the bronze in my bronze Sharpie went, and then some of the gold as well. I think it's a cool design as well, just like for a character thing. And like I sent it to him, he hasn't used it yet, and he also hasn't used that YouTube channel since I sent this to him. So who knows what that's gonna happen with, but this was just a nice thing I did for them. So yeah. Okay, so here at first I sent. So one of my friends, Joe, he's a YouTube channel called Snoop Bones, and I've been on his channel here and again, and like this is kind of like what got me started into YouTube, was doing sketches and stuff here and there with like him on his YouTube channel. And we were talking about how definitely like in 2021 we want to start being more committed to doing videos, because usually we'll put like 1 to 2 out in the year. They're very rushed, but like I think some of them still come out pretty okay. And he has like a good amount of subscribers, and we're talking like we should probably we should try to be more consistent with stuff and see if we can grow it a little bit and get people like, I guess like just give people more funny videos to watch. So I decided to draw him up some ideas for like new channel icons and stuff like that. So here I have all these different renditions of like his design. So he actually took, this is the original design he had, which was from like I think a PlayStation, like the original PlayStation like profile icon of like this skull, this crying skull with the scythe. And I was like, so I put all these here, and I was like, we can even do this one. I could just like redo it to make it like a bit more detailed or something if you want. But we have all of these here. I was like, this one was definitely one of my personal favorites. But going down the list, we have like also these little two here of this one, like kind of like a Minecraft almost kind of style. But out of all of these, he did choose this one here, number 5. And then also I drew him up an actual character as well. So it's like a little skeleton with like his beanie because he likes beanies. Also I kept it consistent with like the purple beanies here. Gave him a gray sweatshirt with like the Snoop Bones type of font that he uses for like his channel banner. But since he wanted the number 5 head, I just went into Photoshop and I edited the number 5 like onto the body. And if you go onto his channel now, I actually have different another version of this where it has the Snoop Bones SB underneath the skull, like just the skull itself. And that's actually on the Redbubble, I think, is like a little Snoop Bones sticker, and then like the full skeleton's also on there as well. I don't think this with the scythe is. I think we kind of got rid of that. But we have all of that there on like Redbubble. If you want to get some Snoop Bones merch or whatever, I might put that on a separate site or something later on going down the line. But these were just like some concepts I had drawn for my friend. And I think it's just cool that I was able to come up with all these designs here because I'm not that creative that I go with all those different ones. But yeah, so you can definitely check that out on his channel, which is just Snoop Bones, and you'll see the little skull there. Alright, next up real quick before we start getting into like really grouping some stuff together, this was just like a me version of like the Fallout guy or like the Vault Boy from Fallout. There was a group of people that wanted to do like YouTube channel type of thing, and I was like so down for it just because I like making content. I wanted to be like the artist and stuff, but obviously creative differences and also those people were insane. So we decided to get out of that area, and I just burst making a face. And so this was for the thumbnail. I actually made like 6 thumbnails with the 6 videos I had posted right before they were going up. I was like, you know what, I can't do this because like the creative system was all wrong, and like the way they were going about it with their expectations and all that was just like too unrealistic and was just not healthy for a lot of people. So I took them all down. But this was the asset here that I used, and I edited it into like another picture. I changed it up. I was like, here's like some shading, so I marked that so I can better do it in Photoshop. So I'm like very like infantile with Photoshop, so I can barely figure it out. But yeah, it's supposed to be me as the Vault Boy, so that was a nice little sketch I did. Alright, so here we have the start of the Arkham series, or like the Arkham Origins series, because we haven't done any of the other Arkham games yet. This is like the second to last video of the year. I was trying to do another series before the end, but just like with the whole thing, there was no motivation really to do that, and then just like with time and like being tired and stuff with work, I wasn't being able to do that. But I'm definitely going to try to do that for next year and be better. Obviously new year and have a new start. But so for Batman Arkham Origins, I decided to redo the thumbnail with Batman, and so we have a little extension here. I was like, let me fix that. So it actually goes like this, and this is what I took as a picture for the thumbnail with him with his cape flowing through the air. So we had Batman sitting there, and on another side of like a building was Deathstroke, and this I was actually really proud of, was this Deathstroke picture. And so going back to the Redbubble thing with them choosing whatever, like I put Deathstroke on there. Apparently he's okay, so I guess Warner Brothers don't care, but apparently Disney does. I don't know if it's because it's Disney or like whatever. So, but Deathstroke's up there for like pictures just like this. He's a little bit more saturated or whatever, so he's not like as dull looking. But this one I thought was pretty cool to do because Deathstroke's a really cool character, and I just thought it was really neat what I did with like, and then he's like supposed to be standing on a building, so that's what that line is for. But yeah, you can get that on Redbubble and stuff like that. But so this is the first thumbnail for like the main series, and I try to do it where I draw 2 characters for each thumbnail. So this was the main series, like the main story. Alright, so next up was the Initiation DLC. This was like kind of roped into the main story. Like after we beat the main story, did some DLC stuff of the Initiation DLC. So we have Bruce Wayne ready to train as like a little ninja, where you have like his little rope like gauntlets or whatever, like just on like his hands, so he's able to like beat people up a little bit better. And then on the flip side, we had Lady Shiva, who was like the boss at the end of that. So we have her with her sword. She does get cut off a little bit, but I was able to scale it just right so it like worked without her leg. That one I was kind of like about. I was thinking about trying to continue a little, but it wasn't really necessary, so I was able to keep her with her no leg. So there's Bruce Wayne and Lady Shiva for the Initiation DLC of Batman Arkham Origins. Alright, lastly for Arkham Origins here we had Batman in his thermal suit. This just like thumbnail in general was kind of a pain in the ass just because of like the detail that had to go into it, and also it was all very black. So it was like a lot of colors kind of mixing here and there, but good thing I had like that pen again that was able to like do stuff like that. So here we have Batman in the XE suit, like the extreme environment suit. So he's here like in his thermal suit because he had to fight Mr. Freeze. So there's Mr. Freeze there. I was able to, in the thumbnail, more make his helmet a bit more like, there was like a sheen on it and also like a bit more transparent. But it's same with like his big gun here. These I actually based the references off like statues of them. So that was a bit more difficult to do. But I thought they came out pretty okay. Again, like you can see how intricate the lines were. And when you have like those many lines going on, it's kind of hard to see what's going on. But I was able to do these, and I think they came out pretty okay. But there's Batman and Mr. Freeze from Cold Cold Hearts. And that was the end of Arkham Origins. All right, moving on, we went on to Spider-Man PS4, and this was a series I had actually done with my friend Tyler. So this one, I decided instead of just doing characters, just characters, I decided to add us as well in. So here we have Spider-Man himself. This was from like the cover of the game. Felt like he could have been a bit better. Like I don't think I'm gonna go back and like redo some of these until like probably down the line when like my skill gets a bit better or when I get like maybe some digital art stuff. But here we have Spider-Man himself. Later on in the game, in like the final battle, he does get this new suit, the anti-ox suit. So like last minute, I decided to trace this and redraw it into the anti-ox suit, where he's like all in gray and he has like yellow lights coming from his symbol as well as his eyes. So when he goes to fight Dr. Octopus, where he has like the same technology he does, so that's why it's the anti-ox suit, and it also has like that same color scheme of the yellow and the gray, or the steel color. But then swinging alongside Spider-Man was myself. So I put myself in like the Stark Homecoming suit because that was my favorite suit of the game. So I was able to do that, swinging, and then alongside me also was my friend Tyler. So there's Tyler. His beard's a bit more fuller than actual Tyler, but I asked him kind of subtly, I was like, what's your favorite Spider-Man suit from the game? So he said it was like the Spider-Man armor, like the Mark II or something like that. So I did that. And I actually accidentally started to do like the head and stuff for like the armor, but I was like, no, I need to show that it's Tyler. So there he is swinging with his glasses on. And that's in the new thumbnail, is like us swinging along Spider-Man here. So that was Spider-Man PS4, at least for the main story. Alright, here we have wrapping up Spider-Man PS4, at least the main game. We have the DLCs that had going on. So alongside these characters here, like each villain, it would be me and Tyler still swinging alongside, so I just reused those same assets. But in the first DLC, we had Black Cat herself. This is also on Redbubble, so again, guess Black Cat's okay, but the other ones aren't. Again, not sure what's going on. But we have Black Cat here. This is based on like the comic, where it's like the Black Cat comic, like not tie-in, but just a recap of like the DLC and stuff. So here's her. I really did like how her hair turned out, and also like just the detailing on her suits. I was like moving on for the second DLC, we had Hammerhead. Basis posed off like some concept art for him. He came out, I think, a little kind of weird just because his character's kind of just a regular dude or whatever. He's just got to do flat head. So he had Hammerhead. And then lastly, we had Silver Sable for the Silver Lining DLC here. I was like, she gets cut off a little bit at the bottom, but you don't really see her that much. But this was what we did for, you know, the DLC for Spider-Man PS4. And this was like the end of Spider-Man PS4 around there, and this was like the most recent, you know, ones I had drawn for like a YouTube series besides the last ones that are coming up now. So finishing up the YouTube section of the folder as well as just our last drawings here, probably the most recent ones was for Spider-Man Miles Morales. So I actually drew these just before the game came out, so as the game was coming out, we had like those new thumbnails, so I didn't have to go back and redo them again, but I probably will at some point. But here we have Miles just swinging around. This is also from the demo of the game. There's like a screenshot of like him swinging along. So we had him in his classic suit. There are other suits that he does wear throughout, but I just decided to keep him in the classic one because that's one of my favorites. And then swinging alongside him was me. So I redid myself, but this time I was in the updated Far From Home suit, which is like the black and the red. So I decided to make myself a little bit different, but then also not too far off. You know, this suit's not in the game, obviously, because it's not a Miles suit, it's a Peter Parker suit. But in that game, it was us swinging alongside each other, trying to save the city from the Tinkerer and all of them. And you can definitely check out all these series on the channel. I'm not going to link every single one of these, but I'm probably just going to link my art Instagram, because every single one of these is on the art Instagram. Link in the description. It's like Cunningham _ art or something like that. You can definitely just check that out. But yeah, so that would be the end of the arts that I've done for 2020. Hey everybody, so past me, you're the one who recorded this yesterday, as it's early in the morning now, still trying to edit this. Past me forgot about a few of the art things that I also did that weren't in the folder. So we're gonna just go over them right now. So first off, we're gonna look at this Captain America, this Lego Captain America like picture. This actually I have as like a poster size thing in my room. So this was like the second actual like Lego drawing that I've done or did, because the first one was the one of me, and then following this one was like Miles and all the other ones as well. So we have Captain America right here. Next we have a few paintings that I did, so it was a little different and obviously can't fit in the folder. So we have these few right here that are little small ones. We have like some Star Wars ones, some Dragon Ball ones, Star Wars ones like the symbols of the factions, where it's like the Jedi, the Sith, and then like the Mandalorian with the Mythosaur skull, and then the Dragon Ball ones are the Prince like symbol that like Vegeta has on his like armor when he's younger, the same one with King Vegeta, and then Vegeta's hair. It's just, I had those small canvases and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put these things on there. So yeah, and then these last two paintings here, we have the first painting I ever did, this first oil painting, and it's a death in the family. So Batman finds Jason after the explosion, and he's unfortunately dead, and he's carrying him in that iconic way. And then we have the death of Superman, where Superman's cape flows through the wind still after he dies at the hands of Doomsday. So those are all bright and cheery paintings, and just some other stuff I wanted to add into this. So now back to past me to wrap up this video that's really long. I hope you all just enjoyed like coming along with me, just like going back, seeing like what I've drawn, and hopefully this is like obviously a trial and error thing as well. So we're gonna see how this works, like just this format. But I'm probably gonna, I'm gonna keep up drawing, because I definitely want to keep that up, as well as of course like recording and everything for videos, do more live action things here and there. That's all gonna come in the new year. So I'm gonna try to edit this after work, because I don't have time right now, because I should probably be going to work right now. But I'm gonna get back at like 9:30, and I'm gonna try to put it out before the end of the day, because I planned it to do it this day, because I have another video coming out that I want to do for tomorrow. So obviously scheduling will be a lot better later on, but I'm going to talk about this in the yearly recap that's coming out tomorrow, hopefully. So thank you all so much for watching. You can like the video if you liked it. Put in the comment section what your favorite drawing was if you want to. Definitely go out to our Instagram. You can follow me, follow my main Instagram. I also have just like my Twitter that I don't really use that much. And then I think that's really it. For like my links. Oh, and then I have my Patreon link, but I don't really use that anymore. So you can check that out if you want. That's where you can get some of the drawings and like some of like the before and after stuff here and there, just like early stuff. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope everybody's having a safe end of the year, and I'll see you in the next video. So see you then.